it's in their nature to do that. They just kind of go into shock. That's why that's when you that's one of the reasons why people don't like sheep. They're easy to kill. Once they get grabbed a hold of and rolled over, they're just lay dead.
Same with if you put the chicken upside down and hold it by its legs, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want to it at that point. They just go to sleep is what it's called. So.
I used to be able to do that. At one time, I used to be able to do that little trick of taking the chicken and rolling, putting it in and roll and hypnotizing it and set them down. But I've lost that art. I don't know. I've lost that ability. I'm out of practice. But I used to be able just to line them all up on the ground. So look at that.
might be a good episode for Brad.
That would be a good episode. That would be a good thing for Brad to learn to do. That would be great.
Chicken hypnosis episode. He's going to have to get some more chickens, though.
Yeah,
he needs to expand that.
Flock. Yeah, he needs to expand the flock beyond. I think it's 4. I think he has four chickens. So. But I know Brad has big plans. Big plans. So.
How big? Please tell. Do tell.
I think he plans to make his flock larger. I know he has been in discussion of goats to try to clear out some of the back section of his property, and gardening. And he needs to get to work on composting. He has I know I've visited Brad, and he has a very large manure pile from his horses that he needs to get to work on composting and use all of that on his property. That's gold. That is gold. So
he came and then he went.
I think he left. Yeah, I think once he found out that
he raised a question
that his chicken did not pass out. So
that, or he's afraid of going on the open seat there.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's in hair and makeup. Maybe that's where he's got.
Could be.
I'm struggling here with the cameras here. I'm trying to. If you look at the camera, I can't see the screen. But if I look at the screen, then I'm not really looking at the people. So
it's hard. We might want to reorient that laptop. Ah, there he is. Outer one.
Checked him last night. No scratches, no marks. Nope, I think he'll be just fine. Like I say, no marks, no scratches, nothing like that. He'll get over that. Hopefully, he'll be a little more wary of your dog.
For future chicken attacks, if you do see a wound at all, even if it's minor, I'd recommend just separating the bird out from the rest of your flock because they are carnivorous. So if they see blood, they will go after them. And they'll eat themselves, which is kind of gross.
They will tend to peck on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's. But they make nice little vests for them to wear now, in case something like that happens if you can't separate them, which is it's an interesting little thing. It's a little vest to keep them from being pecked on. And also, I think that was originally brought in from if you have too much rooster activity on your hens, was kind of the point of that, because like roosters they have spurs on their legs, and if they're mounting their hens too often, they'll have a tendency to cut their sides. So.
I tried to invite Brad in to be a co-host, but
the seat has been locked.
No, it gives you the option.
It's still open. We could lock it, and then nobody could make a request to use it.
But it's in the magazine. Who makes that warming table? I'd have to. I'll have to Google that and look that up. I'm trying to think of the name of the magazine that I've seen that in. I can't think. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. I know we actually be giving them some great advertising right now, but I'm failing in that endeavor for them. Oh well. Once they're fully feathered, you don't really have to worry so much about the warmth side of it. Like I say, when you are doing you can always tell if you are using the heat lamp of what you're doing there. So if you have a heat lamp or whatever you're using for heat, and if you notice that all the time that they are huddled under that lamp, or they're always right there under that table all the time, then you know that you probably might want to try to do something extra to add some heat. Or if you notice that they are always out along the edges of the box and they are never under that heat, then you know that you've got too much heat going on there right now. So you want them to be mingling all over the place. Like I say, especially if you're using the heat lamp, you can always tell how things are working, whether you need to raise or lower the lamp. Like I say, if they're always in the center under the lamp, then you know it's too cold. Or if they're always along the edges of your box and never in the center, then you know you need to raise that lamp up so much, so that it gets a little warmer, a little cooler for them. Excuse me. So,
Brad's getting goats.
Congratulations, Brad.
What kinds are getting?
He doesn't say here, but so we're getting anything different on the composting of the goat manure, with the chicken manure. You'd like to comment on the goat manure?
I mean, we mix ours together and it's fine. Our garden's been super successful, so we just kind of put it all in our compost areas, keep turning it, and it does great.
Make big piles.
I recommend Nigerian dwarves. They're small for their size, but big producers.
What was the recommendation? I'm sorry, Julie.
Nigerian dwarf dairy goats. So they're little, so they're easy. If you're looking to make cheese, they make darn good cheese. Their butterfat percentage is around 8 to 9%, and it's very, very rich. They're big producers for their size because they're only about knee high, but they milk. For example, my doe Nutmeg produced 12 cups in one day in her peak lactation, and she's only comes up to my knee. So I mean, she's a very strong producer.
But they also have smaller teats.
No, that's not true. Not all of them.
Well, compared to like a Nubian, something like that, you can kind of, if you could be milking by hand, that look that
like this. So
well, like I say, it's been my experience when milking. If you're going to be milking by hand yourself, I like a big dough.
So what would your favorite be, Kev?
Like I say, a Nubian or an Alpine. The downside of a Nubian is that they're very vocal. They bellow quite a bit, so they're very noisy. But I like a big goat. I like a big goat. So. This I can't deny. I like big goats.
You could use run-in sheds, but you have a question about milking. You do need to milk every day. You can milk once a day, but for peak production, you want to milk twice a day. Depending on the stage of lactation that they're in. If they're nursing kids, then you can separate them at night, milk them in the morning, leave the kids on them all day, and then separate them at night. You're only milking that once in the morning. But then once those kids reach 2 months old, you want to separate them again, and then you're milking twice a day to keep that production up. As far as fencing, electric net fencing is really, really helpful, especially for goats. Goats are escape artists, and if given the opportunity, they will try to find a way out. Electric net fencing is helpful because it shocks them, so they won't try after a while. They're afraid of it. So you can get one solar panel box that powers 7 fence lines. So if you have a good sunny location, it's going to be a really good investment for you.
They won't give up. They'll keep trying.
But you do need to provide housing for them. You do need to provide a shed or just some place for them to get out of the weather. Goats do not like they don't like being wet. Like I say, and that's where that big Nubian, she'll let you know. She'll just sit out there and just bellow away and let you know that I'm unhappy.
As far as high fencing, like I said, goats are escape artists. It kind of depends on the animal, depends on the breed. The electric net fencing, they have goat and sheep style, which is 4x4 opening, and it's about 4.5 feet tall, and that's proven to be fine for my animals. Your bigger animals generally aren't going to be as easy to escape because there's a lot more weight there that they're dealing with, but I've also seen close to 200-pound bucks that still get out during rut season. So I mean, It kind of depends on the setup, the landscape. If you've got a lot of hilly areas that might give them an advantage, they might try. But usually, keeping it about 4.5 to 5 feet. You don't want to go below 5 feet. Usually, that's a good height.
Well, in general, if you have plenty of forage for them, plenty to eat, a lot of times they won't test it. I mean, I've kept goats in a fenced-in area where I could just step over the wire. I mean, it's just it's one single hot wire across the top, and I could just step over it. But they had plenty to eat, so there was nothing. But the grass was not greener on the other side. There was plenty of brush, plenty of forage for them, and so like I said, if they get hungry, they'll jump and cross most anything to get out of there. Or like I said, or if it's rut season, nothing will stop them right away.
As for the quantity, we've always said an only goat is a lonely goat. So you do need more than one because they are food animals. They like to buddy. They like to have other animals around. They are kind of troublemakers at times, but if you give them enough to busy themselves with, they're not. They're pretty easy keepers. But that's if you're, taking care of them properly. I would just make sure you don't have, highly poisonous plants on your property if they do get out, nearby to their pens at least.
Thank you.
Yeah, goats are troublemakers if you let them just wander. They will find things to occupy themselves. Like they will get on your car, or they will eat up whatever nice plants you want, around. Like I say, so generally, like I say, if they have plenty to eat, they'll pretty much stay inside their area. So hello, cute the brand. Hi there. So.
There's a lot of really great lists that they have online through a lot of goat sites. I mean, there's a lot to mention. Mountain laurel is a big one, especially for us here in Virginia. It's everywhere. But some other household plants that are great for your landscaping and things. There can be some highly poisonous ones there as well. So just basic ones like that to be aware of. I don't know them off the top of my head, but they have very extensive lists that you can look up. And it's always good to keep a list of that on hand just in case if you're not familiar with some of the wild varieties, I guess.
Like around your house, like azaleas. Azaleas are not good. You've got to keep an eye on if you do have wild cherry or cherry on your property, that the cherry leaves, especially if they start to wilt or like a dead branch or something gets down and they start to eat on that, that's not good for them. Surprisingly enough, like maples can be same type of thing if they get into eating too much maple, if the trees go down. Go ahead.
Thing with poisonous plants, though, if you're giving them a good base before you turn them out in a field, so if you're giving them their hay and grain in the morning, they're going to have a good baseline in their rumen. So if they do eat something bad, it's not going to affect them as much as if they had an empty stomach. So if you make sure that you're staying on top of their nutrition program, they're getting something in the mornings before going out, then they'll be fine usually. Especially if they're foraging, typically goats know what they need and what they don't. They're pretty picky eaters as far as that's concerned. So, for example, I remember when we first started with goats, my dad tried to give my buck some wild cherry leaves and wild cherries themselves, and my buck wouldn't eat them. And I said, well, thankfully, that's good because they can't have them. They're deadly to them. But we didn't know that at the time. And so my buck knew not to eat it. So most of them have that instinct. But again, if you give them that baseline in their rumen before turning them out in a field, they'll be fine.
Well, guys, I think we're moving past 45 minutes here, and maybe we should wind it down. We're working on getting a regular schedule going here. We're planning on doing another open question and answer on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And anything else? A quick question or
blackberry leaves are very good for your goat. So you can let them be in there when the fruit is on there, but once the fruit is off, that's very good for them. Blackberry leaves are very, very nutritious for your goat. So brambles are great for your goat. So
we sure appreciate it.
To eat it, you just gotta figure out your penning and make sure
just fence them out. Just fence them out of there. Fence them out. Harvest the berries, and then let them back in again, and let them have some leaves. Like I say, that's great forage for a goat.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, thanks very much for coming. Let your friends know we're here as a resource. Answer your questions about organics, about chickens. And
thank you, Jane. Thank you, Cute the brand, and of course, Mr. Howder. Thank you,
our friend Brad, who I
Brad.
think we have to talk to him on the side and encourage him to make his video presence here.
Come on here. We've got an open seat.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, thank you all. Have a great day. Thanks for supporting organics.
Thank you very much. Let me move my hand. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.